So your website may not be broken, but the structure and your messaging probably are. And if you've built something already, but it's not bringing in leads, this is usually where things fall apart. This is the Digital Growth Stage channel where I break down what's actually happening behind the scenes when you're trying to grow a business online. My background is in SEO and web design, and as I build my agency here in San Francisco, I'm documenting what's working, what's not, and the insights that actually move the needle. So if you're ready to build a site and you've put time into it and maybe even driven traffic, but it's not converting, this video is going to show you what might be missing and how to start fixing it. So over the past 13 days, I ran a simple test targeting lawyers here in the Bay Area. We generated about 3,300 impressions with a 7.8% click-through rate from the ads. That turned into around 530 visitors on the site and about a 4% click-through rate into booked calls with 22 in total. Now, here's why that matters. If I close just 20% of those, that's about 4 new clients, and at my current retainer of $1,500 per month, that's $18,000 generated in 13 days. So this isn't just traffic. This is money sitting on the table. So let's break down exactly what I built and why this is actually working. All right, so the setup, this wasn't anything complicated. It was a simple landing page. It was about 17 ad variations at about $20 a day for a spend to test the market. I built around a virtual sales letter funnel. I wasn't trying to make something impressive. I was trying to validate an idea and a system. And so this is what the actual page looks like. You can see it has a really strong title. You have the VSL on the right, and then it strongly calls out who it is we're looking to target and what it is we're looking to get them very quickly. And just to give a little bit more framing around this, the setup wasn't super complicated. It was a pretty simple landing page. And then it was about 17 ads for the ad variation. It was a $20 a day spend, and that was just to test the market. And so we built a virtual sales letter around the funnel specifically, and then we included this after everything was built. And yeah, I wasn't trying to make something impressive. I was trying to validate a system. And so before the page even matters, this is how everything kind of connects. For the traffic that comes to this page, it starts directly from Facebook. And so this page is getting traffic from Facebook and Google, but the majority of it is definitely coming from Facebook at the moment. And we are ranking mildly for some terms with the page. And so we've seen about 50 visitors from Google, along with the 550 that we've seen from Facebook. Now, in terms of conversions and the mechanisms happen on the landing page. And so there's quite a few sections that help us tell the story while painting the problem for our ideal customer profile. We introduce the system that we've gathered, as well as some testimonials and our top case studies. We made sure to include a secondary mechanism that introduces SEO as the digestible solution to getting more calls per month for this ideal client. Traditionally, SEO isn't very understandable, and there's so many different rabbit holes that you can chase when you're doing SEO. It was important for me to make this shift in the train of thought that the person has, more similarly to how me and my agency build. And so next it was the client testimonials, some emotional selling points, results that the client can expect, our general 5-star rating to increase customer confidence, what happens next for anyone that does have a team and may want to bring on the team or other stakeholders, and then the system that they can choose. So the main CTA on this page is schedule your free audit, which gets them a booked scheduled call with either myself or a closer on our team. And that is the entire process for conversion and persuasion. The next piece of this is follow-up. And so I know that getting people into an email sequence is huge. Now on this landing page in particular, the email cadence starts as soon as we get the name and email from the user for them to book a call. At this point, that visitor goes into our onboarding flow for a booking, which is automated through TidyCal. However, there are people that sometimes don't show up to these bookings or aren't 100% sure that they understand enough about me and my business to make that commitment. So for everyone that does give an email and doesn't end up on one of our scheduled book calls, we have a flow inside of Klaviyo that we then pass over to my virtual assistant, who adds those emails to the welcome flow inside of Klaviyo, and then those people get a 6-email welcome letter or a newsletter to help re-welcome them into the system. And that pretty much covers all of the systems and the explanations as to why I set this up, and in the very simple but structured format that I did. And so the full components to this funnel is a single landing page, a scheduling tool that you can include for the single action that the person is going or the visitor is going to take, and then a single path, meaning there isn't more pages on this website. There's nowhere else to click out to in the navigation. There's only one path for people to take once they get here. So there's no distractions, no multiple offers, and I didn't use a form directly on this page because the booking call triggers our onboarding form, and that feeds into our email automation. And so we didn't necessarily need or want a multi-tiered form for this page. So the email layer is a 6-email welcome sequence. It reinforces trust. It keeps the leads engaged and re-welcomes them back to our offer. And so this is about increasing touch points without overwhelming the user. And so the actual page breakdown for the page itself is a clear headline. We have one core offer on this page, which is a free audit, and the free audit is highlighted even deeper here. We have a strong CTA above the fold, and it's the same CTA no matter where you click, even though it may seem different. And it's structured like a story, where you get the full introduction, you get the pain points and the challenges in this story. You almost see like the hero's journey emerging from this landing page, and then they get more information where they're able to start becoming problem aware. And now they're starting to understand that there is a solution to this problem. They're becoming solution aware. And then we're able to tell the story and to solidify the solution and the solution awareness. And so from there, we increase customer confidence. We continue to increase the emotional selling points behind it. And then we introduce the full system in terms of what happens from now until we start working for you. That way, it reduces the perceived risk. And then we introduce the offer and get people into a large CTA. So I didn't use jargon, I didn't over design it, and I focused on making it easy to understand and easy to act on. And so I'm not gonna break down the ad scripting in this video, but I tested multiple variations to validate the message. And so 13 days in, we have around 3,300 impressions. With that 3,300, we've seen about 530 visits to page. So that gives us an average click-through rate from the ads of about 7.5%, which isn't bad. And then if I go over to the actual site and the analytics from the site, we have over the past 14 days, just started on the 17th, about 540 visitors, and there's 22 actions taken. And so that's about a 4% click-through rate on the landing page itself, which is an extremely strong signal, and I'm really proud of that. So what this tells me is that the market is there. The messaging is resonating, and people are actually taking action, but there's still room to improve. And so the biggest gap right now that I'm seeing is customer confidence. If I look at the visit duration, since I included the VSL on this page, which was on March 22nd, the average time on page has gone up drastically, with the latest as of yesterday being almost 4 minutes that somebody is staying on this page to make a decision around whether they want to leave it or commit to it. And so this is why most websites don't work. It's not necessarily a traffic problem, it's a trust problem. And so if I'm seeing people get this far into the funnel, stay on the website, and not have a higher conversion rate than what I'm probably experiencing, or just like through first principles of dissecting the data for analytics, what this means is that people are staying on page long enough to watch the video, but maybe not long enough to scroll to the full bottom of this page where they get to see more testimonials, they get to see more of our case studies. And so if I wanted to update this page for even more conversions, I may include a secondary section below the hero section that is maybe a carousel of all of our top case studies instead of just a single one that we're showing now, or possibly even a testimonial video from one of our past clients. These can always do really well to help increase customer confidence, time on page, and conversion, but we would always need to make sure that we're keeping a close eye on this data so that we're making informed decisions. We want to make it so that it's clear and there's no friction in the decision for the user. And so the way I think about this is simple. I usually start with, who is this for? What is it that they're going to get? And what is it they're going to do next? And you can see all three of these highlighted on my page with, who is this for? What are they going to get? And then I second the what they're going to get here. And then what do they do next is here. What happens next? And so these key pieces are pivotal to making sure that your potential client understands that you've put enough time and energy to understanding their problem deeper than they would understand it themselves. And you have a solution that's going to bring them to the finish line in a way that they're never going to have to worry about that risk. Instead of trying to say multiple things on a website where it gets confusing and a little messy and a bit hazy, what we're doing is we're having a single message to increase customer confidence so that the site is converting and it's driving more traffic. The CTA that I'm testing in real time across different industries right now is schedule a free audit. We've already gotten clients in professional services like construction, defense law, ranking at the top of Google across the Bay Area. And if you want help building something like this, feel free to reach out. If you want to see what's actually working right now, subscribe and follow along as I document how I'm scaling my SEO agency here in San Francisco. I appreciate you watching. Hopefully this gave you something that you can actually apply in your business over the next week. And that's all I've got for now, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.